Workout breakdown for November 7th, baseline day. This baseline we have not done in quite some time. I just kept putting it on the back burner, and I just never got to it. And there was never a good monthly emphasis that really hit it. And next thing you know, we're a year out, and actually over a year since the last time we did this, September 9th, 2024. And it's just kind of crazy how fast time went by. But, this baseline, I try to create baselines pretty much for like every modality and things that were trackable, not just consumable on your guys' end, but trackable, and like you could actually see like legitimate black and white differences, and you can see growth and progression, and there's lots of things you can work on, whether it's skill related or getting stronger or whatever it is. In this particular workout I wanted to create because there wasn't really anything that challenged your overhead mobility or your overhead strength or your ability to stabilize your shoulder girdle at a load over top. So that's what the original thought process was for this baseline. I know a lot of the people who have been with me for a while absolutely know this baseline. If you struggle to get up and overhead, like this is one that's like really taxing because we just don't do this kind of volume often up and overhead. And we kind of challenge every which way to get overhead in this baseline, which is really cool and it's unique. And I really enjoy working my way through it. In the 550 overhead, I just say 550 I remember I knew I wanted to do 50 calories within it. And then I don't know where the 500s came from. It's been so many years now. But the original concept was overhead. So as we work through this, I think you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So you got 45-minute cap. Clock's obviously going to count up. You're going to start and end with a 500-meter run. There's a 50-calorie bike ride slammed pretty much in the middle of it. Not exactly in the middle, and I never wanted to add another exercise. This I do remember because it would be just too much. So alternating snatches, right? Finishing up and overhead reverse lunge. You're stationary up and overhead with one arm. You can break them up any way you'd like. Knees to bows. The whole point of that was to get your arms up and overhead and tax your shoulders even more. Now, if you don't have the ability to get up onto the bar, you can just go to the ground and do tuck-ups. It takes away from the overhead portion of it, but it's not the end of the world. Calories spiked, obviously. Single arm American swing, very similar to a snatch, just less force, less power output. Typically, a little bit harder, not typically, it is a little bit harder to get up and overhead and from this starting position than it would be from the ground. So it's kind of cool that you do the really, the really explosive, forceful movement first, and then you get down to the American swings as you're already pre-exhausted and obviously physically taxed, and now you have to do the harder version of the movement, ideally with the same weight. And this is an opportunity. I'm going to talk about the weights here in a second, so I'll go over that in a minute. But that's probably an area where a lot of people are going to start with a particular weight. They're going to have all intentions of doing the American swings with the same weight as the snatch, and they'll get there and maybe realize like, that's just not an option. I'm going to drop my weight. That's another, area of improvement, opportunity to kind of mark down a red flag, something we need to work on, which would be generating force from our hips. Bodyweight squats, just a break. Sit-ups with a press. Again, this is, my memory of this workout is that this is the worst part. Like, I think, even thinking about it now, like it's definitely when I say worse, I mean it's just the hardest part. The lactic buildup is so overwhelming. The burning sensation in your shoulders is so overwhelming, and so you're not only fighting like a lactic threshold capacity type of situation, but you're supposed to do the full sit-up and then press. Whoever coaches this class, I don't know exactly what day this is on. It's on a Friday, so I believe this will be Andrew in the morning. Anybody that's coming in the morning, like if you watch this video, like you are supposed to fully finish your sit-up and then press the dumbbell. What a lot of people do is to compensate with the weight in our hands, we will use the weight to help us up on the sit-up and like simultaneously be pressing it before you ever finish the sit-up or complete the sit-up, which is a massive corner being cut right there. So if you do watch this video, try to remember that one little nugget there. I'm sure Andrew will go over it in the morning as well, as it's easily the biggest corner cut in this entire baseline. And again, we just don't want to dilute your numbers for the future. The whole point of baselines is to get an idea of, be precise about what you're capable of and what you can and can't do. And then the dumbbell step overs. Again, dumbbells at your side. At this point, you're just really, really fatigued. And I wanted to give you something that forced you to move in a different plane of motion. And I think grip strength and your shoulders, like your traps, are already going to be so tired that these step overs kind of just exemplify that. And it's a fun way to finish the workout when it's all said and done. Now, a couple little things. So I'll start with the weights. The weights are, remember, gold standard weights. You do not have to use these weights. Like anytime you guys see gold standard weights, just know that's just like a long-term goal. Like aim for that. Like, oh shit, like they're gonna use 35s. Like I can't use 35. Like what's the closest you can get to using the weight that's listed? And again, the first weight, of course, being the female, the second weight being the male. And then I think I actually, now that I'm talking about this, the dumbbell overhead reverse lunges, I want to say I just said single arm in the video. It's not. It's 2 dumbbells. So you're overhead with both dumbbells. So if you're using 15s or 25s, both dumbbells are locked out up and overhead, which dramatically changes the movement. If I did in fact say single arm, it would also be listed as single arm, so I apologize for that if I said that. And then the other one being the American swing, I wanted to come back to this. Like the snatch, you guys are starting from the ground. You get to use triple extension. You're completely fresh, super explosive. When you get to the American swing, you're not starting from the ground, and you're really relying on your ability to generate force through extension of your hip, which a lot of us just, it's really hard to learn that technicality. So don't be afraid to drop that weight when you get to the American swing if you cannot generate enough power from your hips and get that weight up and overhead in one fluent movement, because that's what it's supposed to be. And you're also, which I don't want to go into this much detail, but you're also not supposed to have your hips overextend or hyperextend. So if your hips are coming in front of your body and you realize that, like if you can't fix it, then you should also drop your weight when you guys are going through this. So those are the weights. Those are all the movements. I think I went over everything in as much detail as possible. I do hope as many people show up to this as possible, because again, it's been so long since we've done it. It's just a nice little unique baseline to check in on and just kind of highlight some things, take some notes, some mental notes, maybe some physical notes of where we currently stand in this particular modality.